Battlefield 4 was 2 years old last weekend. That's pretty cool because we've seen the game come from a steaming pile of dog eggs to something much more established and fun to play. Most recently, DICE have released the Community Map project, finally into the Battlefield 4 vanilla client, signifying a massive change in the way that the game has been developed. From when the game was first released, shoved out of the gate far too early to catch the release of the Xbox One and the PS4, into a game where the community feedback wasn't just listened to and reacted upon, but where community members actually played a direct role in developing the game. And this is kind of what I want to talk about today. 2 years on from release, what have we learned from Battlefield 4? Well, first off, I can say with a huge amount of confidence that what we've learned most of all is that the community is extremely loud and vocal in its opinions. You only need to look in the comment sections on videos released here on my channel recently to see the issues raised time and time again. Some of them can be a little bit hostile, but most of the time, this is just simply somebody who's passionate and believes something should be changed. And based on those feelings, David Serlin, the lead developer at DICE, campaigned for the introduction of a testing environment in which the community could submit ideas for changes based on their own feedback and test the fixes and improvements that DICE created. If you ask me, I think it worked out pretty well, considering the overall game stability was improved tenfold, and plenty of new content came from it as well, and all of that was free. Something else that I think we've learned is the type of player who currently likes playing Battlefield games, or maybe let me rephrase that, the current way that Battlefield is played in general. I think that's something that's come to light very, very prominently within Battlefield 4, and I think that's shown through the amount of tweaks and changes that have been put into this game. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will disagree here, and that's okay. But I think the majority of players right now who are still playing Battlefield 4, well, there's a majority that I think enjoy testing the game and trying out all the new features, and a lot of those are hardcore fans. But I think there is a large group within that community that consider the game to be more casual than its predecessors, and, well, some of the changes do reflect that. A lot of these players are just casual players. They just pick up their controller or they turn on their PC and they want to play a game of Battlefield. They're rewarded for completing challenges and objectives and receiving XP in-game for that. And I like to call this type of player a point chaser. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a point chaser, far from it. You bought the game at whatever price you paid for it, so you can do whatever you like. But it can rather detract from the mechanics built into a game that a developer intended for people to use. And what I mean by that is, for example, you used to get 150 points for capturing a flag, and 10 points per tick of the flag that you took from the enemy. Now, that was quite a slow process to maybe gain 300 points. You could go down a much easier route though and just kill 3 enemies, which didn't take anywhere near as long or anywhere near the effort. You didn't have to wait around for a flag, and let's face it, it is much more fun. And in recognizing that the Battlefield community was full, and still is full, of people craving experience points, DICE decided recently to convert these players back into something that I think has kind of been lost in recent titles: an objective player. But to do this, the developers didn't force somebody to play the objective by changing mechanics or putting them in a funnel and forcing them down a chosen path. They just decided to redistribute the point system to make it more, well, incentivized for you to go and capture those flags, making them more appealing by offering a higher point incentive. This kind of fix isn't really a full fix. That comes with time, and I think you have to change the mentality of somebody to really do that, but it's planted the seed. DICE want more people to play the objective, so here's to hoping their push continues into the future of the franchise. Another thing that I think is insanely popular in the Battlefield community right now is Easter eggs. Now, no one can argue that there is a large section of the community out there that enjoy ferreting around on maps in different game modes, searching for clues to unlock cool items, or just discovering a secret. But what we also learned from Battlefield 4 is that it can split the community right down the middle as well. While Jack Frags was off discovering the location and activation for the Megalodon on Nansha Strike, plenty of people voiced their displeasure at the developers seemingly focusing more on that, the Easter eggs, than the full development and improvement of the game. And at that point, Battlefield 4 was still in a really poor state, and the community was starting to get a little bit annoyed. DICE have since clarified that all Easter eggs are worked on in a developer's spare time, and any rational person out there would have known this anyway. There's no way that lead designers would have their teams working on side projects rather than fixing the main issues. But to contrast all of this, whilst there were people annoyed by this incessant hunting, it invigorated the community like nothing else really could have. It was cool when the Megalodon first leapt out of the water. It was cool the first time the Phantom Room was discovered. It brought the community together. If we learned anything, it's that the community loved to solve riddles, find clues, and work together to achieve a common goal. While it's hardly classified as in-game teamwork, it does show amazing spirit. And finally, something else we can take from Battlefield 4, and this is a personal favourite of mine, because it kind of includes me, is that people who love to play the game don't just love to play the game. They like to manipulate it and create something unique of their own. Battlefield 4 isn't just a game anymore, it's a cinema for fan-created videos. It's a screenshot machine, and you can almost say it's a podcast editor. Because the game is so versatile, it attracts a wide-ranging audience, and all with different views and opinions. There are people like me who like to project their thoughts and opinions onto their followers and then want to hear what they've got to say. There are people like Hoodoo, the two Scotsmen, who use the game and the Frostbite engine as a filmmaker. There are people like Shadow 6 who use it to create stunning scenes of battle. And there are people like Hattie Watty who made all of that possible. So, whether you still, today, say that Battlefield 4 isn't a great game or isn't as good as it could have been, or you think it's perfect, it doesn't really matter anymore. The game is 2 years old, and I don't think anyone, literally anyone, could have predicted that this point would be its second birthday. Battlefield 4 has taught us so many things. It's brought community spirit, community creativity, developers who have taken a really strange path to development, but one that has worked absolutely fantastically. But I think on top of all of that, there's just a great, rich, diverse community out there who will take the next game, whatever it might be, and rip it to shreds as well, but in a good way. The community for this game absolutely rocks. Oh, and in case you didn't notice, all the tweets that have been rolling around in the up-hand right corner, they're all from this question that I asked on Twitter earlier today. So if your answer was up there, cool, you're in one of my videos. But thanks to everyone who responded. But I would encourage you to go down into the comments today and let me know what you think about Battlefield 4. Try and sum it up in one sentence. And while you're down there, drop me a like as well. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.